A 7-year-old boy accidentally fell into a deep well, his body curled up helplessly. The firefighters who came to rescue him found that the well opening was only the size of a basketball. They couldn't go down, so they had to lower a camera to check the situation. They lowered it to a depth of 40 feet before they finally saw the boy. Upon learning that her son was still alive, the mother was already heartbroken from crying. Now the problem was how to get him out, and 55 feet down was groundwater. This meant that if he fell a few more feet, he would drown. They had to rescue him as quickly as possible. The captain decided to use a drill to dig another well next to the abandoned one, so a firefighter could go down and dig toward the boy's location. Until they connected the two wells and rescued the boy. To help the boy hold on, the firefighters lowered a walkie-talkie into the well, and then let the boy's mother talk to him.
Hayden? Hayden, can you hear me? I know it's scary right now out there by himself, but it's gonna be okay.
Hearing his mother sobbing uncontrollably, the boy managed to squeeze out a smile trying to comfort her. But just then a sudden rainstorm disrupted their progress. The rain softened the ground, and as they dug, a flash of lightning struck. The workers had to evacuate immediately because the tall drilling rig now acted like a lightning rod and could be struck at any moment, but they were only 3 feet away from the target depth. The captain urged the workers to hold on a little longer, and Eddie volunteered to go down for the rescue. The captain, worried about the lack of signal in the well, agreed to give him only 30 minutes. Once the time was up, they would pull him up immediately. Eddie went down the newly dug well beside the abandoned one, quickly reaching the bottom. At this point, the walkie-talkie lost signal. He had to hurry and dig a passage through. Time passed slowly, and Eddie finally saw the wall of the abandoned well. With great effort, he managed to cut through the wall. But when he stuck his head through, he didn't see the boy turning his head. He saw the boy further down. It turned out that the rainwater had caused the boy to slip lower. Now half of the boy's body was submerged in groundwater, and the water level was still rising. Just as Eddie grabbed the boy's hand, the 30-minute time limit was up. The captain ordered Eddie to be pulled up immediately. To save the boy, Eddie cut the rope with a knife and fell straight to the bottom of the well. When the captain noticed the rope had been cut, he then realized something was wrong. Everyone became tense. Eddie climbed to the edge of the abandoned well again and slowly pulled the boy up. He wrapped the boy in a thermal blanket. Just then, his teammate Chimney came down to check the situation. Seeing that both of them were okay, he finally breathed a sigh of relief. Eddie asked Chimney to take the boy up first. When the boy was successfully rescued, the crowd burst into applause just as they were about to pull Eddie up. Lightning struck the drilling rig. The machine exploded, causing the well to collapse. At this moment, the narrow well opening was completely sealed with dirt. Buck frantically dug at the ground with his hands, but the well was more than 30 feet deep, and with so much dirt on top, the chances of Eddie surviving were slim. Moreover, the drilling rig was broken, and it would take a long time to bring in a new one. But what no one expected was that Eddie had happened to reach the passage between the two wells. He suddenly remembered that the abandoned well was connected to a reservoir, so there might be an exit. He took his equipment and dived in, but his oxygen quickly ran out, and he had to take a deep breath and dive again. Due to the lack of oxygen, he began to lose consciousness. At that moment, an image of his son appeared in his mind. His son had cerebral palsy and needed his father. Eddie also thought of his teammates and of his wife who had died in an accident. He had promised her that he would raise their son well. Suddenly, his son's voice called out to him, waking Eddie up. He kept swimming forward and finally surfaced in the reservoir half miles away. Meanwhile, his teammates, unaware of what had happened, were still discussing how to rescue Eddie. Suddenly, they heard a familiar voice. Turning around, it was Eddie. Everyone was overjoyed. They could hardly believe that Eddie had miraculously survived.